What's up, Grayson Report? I know I look a little weird. I'm still having laptop issues. Well, actually, the laptop is dead. Forget the issues. It's dead. I was going to borrow a computer that didn't work out. So we are going to do this on my phone. So sorry that it's in vertical, but this is what it is. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. We're going to try something different here. I got my tablet. I was able to access my links. I'm just not going to be able to show you the articles, unfortunately, but you'll be able to see my mug. But how's it going, everyone? Holy crap, I can't see the chat. I'm blind. What's up? Hold on. What is up, Carol, Wendy, Denny Rose, Julissa, Heather, whatever, Dusty, Matthew, Gunner Girl. Hope you guys can hear me. Delia Lux. Nerd Report in the house. Cheryl King, what is up? Curious Potato. Tammy. So, how's everyone doing? Did anyone do anything interesting while we wait for people to trickle in before we get into the nitty gritty? Matthew goes, of course, Lisa's got this. She always does, unlike Okay, awesome. Denny saying she can hear me well. That's all that counts. Dusty as well. Thank you. I don't want to be talking to you guys going, we can hear your lips moving, or we could see your lips moving, but we can't hear you. Denny has been online shopping. Super cool. I haven't really watched anything. Have I watched anything new? No, I haven't watched anything new, but from the last time I spoke with y'all, because last week the laptop died officially. I was able to see Terrifier 3 finally. It is on Screenbox. You can get, I happened to get a there was a deal where you could get 3 months for like $2.99. It's kind of like Shudder. It's another like horror movie service. What I thought about Terrifier 3, I won't give any spoilers or anything. It did have a bigger budget for sure, but it wasn't my favorite one. I felt like they concentrated more on the blood and the guts than a storyline. I did not like the storyline, but I mean, for most part, when you watch these horror movies, you're not really looking for a storyline. But I didn't like the storyline of this one. It is a continuation of the second one, except it takes place at Christmas time. Art was amazing as always. I think that's the main thing. I like the character more than anything else. I felt like out of all of them, because there is All Hallows Eve, there's Terrifier, there's Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. I feel like Terrifier 2 was probably my favorite storyline wise, because it had Sienna and she was kind of your kick-ass heroine at the end. I like that the best. Art's good in every single one of them. All Hallows Eve, I actually kind of enjoyed. It's completely different. It is on Tubi if you guys want to catch that out. It's completely different. It's like someone finds a VHS like in their trick-or-treat bag and they start watching it, and it's like this B-movie horror, like homemade horror movies, and it kind of does introduce you to Art. It's a different actor though, but I kind of liked it because it was different. There wasn't, I mean, they had the blood and guts in it, but it wasn't like as in depth as, you know, the Terrifier franchise. They are coming out with another one. Oh, awesome, Dusty. Dusty found a great place to move. Awesome. That is always good news. Curious Potato goes, I remember watching the first one, so freaky but cool. I actually did not see this movie till recently, like maybe like 2 years ago, because we do go to a horror convention that's Mad Monster that in Arizona. and the actors, Damien Leone happened to be there, the creator and writer of Terrifier happened to be there, and the actor, what's his name, David Howard Thornton. I have to think of his name because I always say it differently. Who plays Art the Clown was there, and I was always wondering, like, what's the hype with these guys? Like, I've never seen this movie, so then that's when I decided to see it. And I was like, I like the clown. Don't get me wrong, I love the clown. Like, I think that's what makes the movie, because he doesn't say a word. It's kind of like his little movements, that his facial expressions, you're like, that's what I like about it. I don't really care much about the gore. I do like movies with blood and guts, but I don't care so much about it. But I mean, I didn't feel like I was wasting my time watching Terrifier 3, but I did feel like it wasn't, production wise, yes, it was better, bigger budget. Like, I could tell, like, the special effects was better, because this film, they actually had the budget to hire like makeup and special effects. The other films, Damien Leone was actually doing the makeup, like touching up the makeup, the blood, and all that kind of stuff. So this one had a bigger budget, and I did see that, but the storyline wise, I didn't like it. I mean, it's another movie you can add to watch during Christmas, but I did not. I mean, Art had some cool things that he did, that I thought were cool, but I felt like this was the weaker one out of all of them. But nonetheless, it's good to watch if you're a fan of Terrifier and Art the Clown. Wendy goes, I'm scared of clowns. I also got a chance to see, what was that name? Wolf Moon? Or I think the name of that movie. I think it's called Wolf something. I don't remember what it's called. I can't look it up because I don't want to lose my links either. I think it's called Wolf Moon, if I'm not mistaken. The movie that recently came out in January, that's finally out on streaming. That was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to, coincide with the Universal Monsters. Same director as The Invisible Man. If you guys are familiar with that, Invisible Man was a great movie, just not an Invisible Man movie. I felt like this movie was the same. This movie, I mean, if you weren't expecting the Wolfman, then you probably would have enjoyed it, but it was not, yeah. It was not a Wolfman, it was a creature. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to give it out. I know a lot of people haven't seen it, but and then it was trying, I get it was trying to have a storyline to, show this backstory of this, the main characters, but I just felt like it just, I don't know. That movie was, I would not, unless it's free to y'all, I would recommend watching it, but I felt like I said, it wasn't a Wolfman movie. I mean, if it was anything but a Wolfman movie, it probably would have been good, but you put Wolfman on it, you're expecting to see a Wolfman, right? Matthew goes, actor Wings Hauser passed, been in a horror and action film and television, including Beastmaster 2. I don't think I've ever seen Beastmaster 2. I was a huge fan of Beastmaster when I was a kid. I need to get the poster. That's how, it was one of my childhood favorites next to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I need to get that poster. Used to watch it all the time, loved it. I mean, Mark Singer is probably not the best looking dude, but I absolutely loved that movie. I think I was super young when it came out, but I just fell in love with it. But I don't think I've ever seen the second one or knew of a second one. Curious Potato, right? No wolf. Yes, there was no wolf. I don't know if you've seen it, Curious Potato, but there was no wolf in it. There was what they I'm using quotes, what they were saying was the Wolfman, but it was not a Wolfman. I saw better special effects. I probably shouldn't say my true opinion, because then no one's going to be like, that girl, she doesn't like anything. I do like movies, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it wasn't, I felt like the movies in the 80s, like The Howling, one of my favorites, and American Werewolf in London did a way better job at the werewolf than this movie did. And they did use practical effects, but yeah. I mean, there were some cool things about it. Like they switched between what we could see and what the wolf could see, or the person transforming into the wolf could see, which I thought was kind of cool, but other than that, yeah. Denny Rose, I agree. Some of the Howlings were good, but not all. I loved the Howling as a kid, so I recently just watched it. I mean, it is 80s horror. It's gonna have some cheese. I get it. But yeah. I just felt like those movies did it better. And I love werewolf movies. You don't get to see too many of them, so whenever they do make one, I'm always jumping on to watch them. I even felt like Underworld did a great job at the Lycans. But yeah, not this movie. Wendy goes, were you born in the 80s? I was born in the late 70s. I just aged myself. Grew up in the 80s, I guess you could say, but those are the two movies I've watched. They did announce, if you guys are a fan, I know a lot of people don't like Ghost Adventures. And I was so mad with my laptop because I had so much to say about Aaron's he filed for divorce, but Aaron's ex-wife, soon to be ex-wife, allegedly hired a hitman to take him down. And when I first read that, I remember I woke up and when I wake up, I always check like my mail, the cameras, whatnot. And I scroll and I was like, what? Aaron? Like, Aaron is like, I don't know him personally, but I do know a lot of people are fans of him. They don't like the fact that Zach throws him in any room by himself in the dark a lot of times in the episode, so they like to say stuff like that. I know he's a big nerd because if you do follow him on Instagram, he takes pictures and there's Pokemon cards like sitting right next to him. Like, he's a big nerd. And even prior to that, like, he posted a picture with them together. Like, oh, my Valentine, we're playing, mini golf on Valentine's. So it's like, whoa, this is crazy. So I guess allegedly this all occurred in October of last year. She was speaking to a prisoner in Florida. He was convicted, I believe, of murdering his family, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I've seen other articles, and it says I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know, because I didn't read the articles, but she fell in love with him. She discovered him after like seeing like a true crime doc about him. And I started thinking, and I'm like, okay, you've been with this guy. You've been with Aaron, since 2018. You did a lot of times. I'm just guessing. I don't know because I don't know him. This is my opinion. And I know, like, when they do film TV shows, it's like a grueling, like, all day thing. And I'm assuming it's no different for like Ghost Adventures or for any of those ghost or documenting type of shows. And the locations that he goes to, I know a lot of times they're here in Los Angeles area. They go to Arizona. They're in Nevada. Like, they go, I mean, he lives in Nevada, but they go to like Arizona. They go to New Mexico, and And I can imagine, I don't know how long the filming is. It could take a week. So she's probably home by herself. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, it's like you knew when you met him, you knew that was what his, lifestyle was. You know what I mean? So I feel like, I guess some women just don't understand that. Like if you like they think it's going to change or something. I don't know. But I feel like if you've been with someone for so long, even especially when you met him, you probably knew who he was, right? I would think you would know like what his schedule would be like, consist of before you even got married to him. So I always feel like when it just, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know him personally, so I don't really know what's going on, but I feel for him. Oh, did he? I won't say it because YouTube will probably strike me down. But Wendy goes, huge fan of the shows. They went to my hometown one episode. But I think even the Ghost event, I know the Ghost Adventure like filming family, like they're super close, and I don't even think they knew what was going on. Because I saw an article saying that they had no idea what was going on. But it's just crazy to think like like a woman, you know what I mean? Like, why not just leave him? You know what I mean? Why go to that? And I feel like too, he probably took good care of her. You know what I mean? He made enough. If she was looking for someone that had a good, income, obviously he does. Probably had a nice house, probably took it. She probably didn't have to work. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it, yeah, exactly. Denny goes, get a hobby. Julissa goes, just leave. That's how I feel about it. I just feel like just leave. Like, why did you have to go through? It makes me think the fact that you went that route, that you just wanted his money and all his assets. You know what I mean? He was pretty decent with when he filed for divorce that Karen had read to you guys last week. If you were in the stream last week, he kind of divided everything in half, except I think there was a few things he didn't because he had owned those before he got married, like the house. But most people would have been like, F you, like you did this to me. But I feel like he kind of was like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to do it by the book. Cause usually, when you get married, you kind of have to divide your assets. So he kind of just did that. And I think he just wants to get it done with out of his life and move on, which I don't blame him. I would do the same thing. I would not want this dragon any more than it possibly could. Like, it would annoy me, like, to think that the person I loved, and I'm sure he loved her, would do something like that. And I would just want it done. Like, I wouldn't want anything to do with that person, because that sucks. Like, really, it does. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know him personally, but I feel for him. Like, that just sucks. It does. Karen, thank you for that super chat. Hearts for Karen, guys. Here's some more money toward a new laptop. I hope you get enough funds to buy a new one soon. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. You didn't have to, but thank you. Dusty goes, 50 ways to leave your lover. Wendy goes, some situations you just can't leave. But I just feel, yeah, that was a shocker. I think it's a shocker for everyone. It's a shocker if it happened to you. You'd be like, what? I did see an article, but I'll probably share it next time because I don't have the link here. It's on my phone and I'm using my phone at the moment, but I'll probably share it next time. Oh, thank you, Denny. I appreciate that. Wendigo, step out the back, Jack, get a new plan. But they did announce Ghost Adventures is returning. Finally, I know there's a lot of people wondering where the episodes are coming out. I believe the last time we saw a new Ghost Adventures, I think, was in the summertime, if I'm not mistaken. It might have even been later than that. It might have been a year ago for all I don't remember. It seems like it's been a while. And so they finally, and I know Zach has been teasing on his Instagram about stuff that he'll show, like some of his, he'll kind of tease where he's at. And I know one of them was the Poltergeist house, so I believe that's what they're starting off with. Allegedly, the new owner of the Poltergeist house claims that things have been happening there, so they did go there. And it's going to come out. It's the 28th season of Ghost Adventures. It's premiering April 16th on Discovery Channel, Max as well. Although this season looks like all the historics are back, with the hunters freaking out over the slightest EMF readings or photo anomaly, it's the behind-the-scenes drama that has us intrigued. First, there's Bagan himself, who in 2023 was accused of both former employees and clients of using gangster techniques to shut down his competitors. What? I didn't know about that. The plot thickens. Then there's teammate Aaron Goodwin, whose now ex-wife is being questioned for taking out a hit on him. If it's true, her plan was probably in action during the filming of one of the new episodes. Despite these developments, the show must go on, and this season the crew is investigating many locations, including the Poltergeist house in Simi Valley, California, as well as going back to the crazy Winchester Mystery House to conduct a seance in hopes of communicating with magician Harry Houdini. Additionally, the team will visit Bagan's infamous Las Vegas museum, where he claims a newly acquired object once owned by serial killers creating mayhem within the building. The investigation this season are iconic, highly charged, and very personal, said Bagans in a press release. These locations have a dark energy rooted by their deep history, including a place I've always dreamt of exploring, the Poltergeist house. He, MFer, I'm going to say MFer, has and owns the actual clown from Poltergeist. And I watch Poltergeist every time, and I think I missed someone. Cheryl King! Thank you for that super sticker! Hearts for Cheryl King! Thank you, Cheryl King. I appreciate that. And that is the one thing I've always wanted while watching. I grew up watching Poltergeist. Again, one of my favorite movies. I think in the second one, that preacher was always creepy to me, still is creepy to me to this day. But that clown, oh my God, I've always wanted that clown, and Bagans owns it. And I'm like, mother effer. Even if I were to get one, I probably couldn't afford one. But it's still cool. It'd be cool to have that clown, because that I'm not scared of clowns, so it wouldn't bother me, but I can imagine someone that is. I agree with you, Matthew. I seriously doubt the place is haunted. I seriously doubt too. I know the set was plagued by things. I know there's things that happened during the time, but I don't think the place is haunted, and probably the new owners are trying to make some money off of their house. I don't blame them. A house is expensive, especially here in SoCal. So I don't blame them. I mean, I don't blame anyone for doing that to help pay for something. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying. I don't blame them for doing it. I don't blame for anybody buying an attraction and using it. I mean, obviously that's probably what the purpose of it is, but hyperbole aside, fans of both the show and its host are probably eager to spend time with these investigators. Others are probably curious about the gossip. We are more excited to get a tour of Bagan's museum, which he rarely lets cameras into. It's not so much because we want proof of anything. We just want to see the supposedly cursed collection from the safety of our home. Ghost Adventures premieres with a 2-hour episode on Wednesday, April 16th at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time on Discovery Channel and is streaming next day on Max and Discovery Plus. For those of you that have it, I use Max. I used to have Discovery Plus, but then I saw Max and I felt like Max was, you got more for your money with Max. Denny goes, they should watch what they asked for. They could get more than they bargained for. I mean, obviously, it is a filming location, so there's probably people that drive by it all the time. That's a given. If you buy any house that was in a movie or featured in a movie, you're going to get people, going through trying to find the houses. So that's part of it. They're probably going to have people randomly like taking pictures in front of their house. I mean, if it was my house and that was happening, I'd be cool with it. I get it. I understand it's going to happen. I would think it was cool too. So I would not, I would not shatter anyone's, happiness, because seeing like a house up close that is from one of your favorite films, it's cool. Or going to a location, like I've gone to the hedge or the neighborhood where Halloween was filmed, where Lori's house was, where she's sitting with the pumpkin. In that house, they actually, if you do go to it, they have pumpkins for you, so you could take a picture with the pumpkin. So I mean, that neighborhood was cool. I've gone to the Elm Street house too as well. But I know there's someone that I reported about the owner like kind of getting into it with people outside the house, but it's a given when you have a house like that. Also, too, what I wanted to talk about, sorry, it's going to take me a little longer to grab my link, so I do apologize. Rob Zombie, which I thought this was kind of cool, but I think people don't think it's cool. I think it's cool from an adult perspective. I am also a fan of House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm not a big fan of Rob Zombie movies. Some of the movies he did was like, what the hell is going on? Like it was a mind F. You're like, what the, when you're watching it. Halloween, I mean, at the time I thought it was cool because he actually showed, because I liked blood and gore when I was younger. I still kind of do, but not as much. He actually showed like the person like getting his head stomped in, and I thought that was so cool. But later I realized that it was probably not it wasn't probably the greatest interpretation of Halloween. The second one was like in left field. I didn't mind the monsters, but then I had low expectations of it, so it ended up being, I was like, you know what, that movie's not that bad. 31 I didn't like. A lot of his films I don't like. I mean, I was a fan of his music. I wasn't a huge fan of him, but I was a fan of his music and the fact that he's like pushing 60 and he's still rocking. I thought that was pretty cool. But he has Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses characters teach kids to spell with Z is for zombie book. And do you remember those books when we were a kid? I don't know if they still have them. They were little books, maybe about that big, and they had like a gold edging. I don't know what you call it. The binding was gold. Not the binding, the binding's in the middle, but like the end of the book that held the book together. I don't know what you call that. But so he came out with that, but with House of a Thousand Corpses. It's always more fun to learn with friends, especially when they're Rob Zombie's friends. Z is for zombie, learning to spell with House of a Thousand Corpses. Yes. You want to give this to your kids to learn how to spell, for sure. It's available now for the a high price of $40. Aspiring spellers will be taught important words and phrases from positive role models like Captain Spaulding, Baby Firefly, Otis Driftwood, Dr. Satan, and Rob Zombie himself. Made in the style of Little Golden Books, that's the name of it, Little Golden Books. The 76-page hardcover is written by Zombie and illustrated by Pete Bergman. Take a peek inside below. I'll move it up so you can see it a little bit. Z is for Zombie, is the latest release from Neckbolt Publishing, who previously brought us the official Rob Zombie coloring book, also illustrated by Bergman, and Grandpa Hugo's Dirty Jokes. Zombie's 2003 directorial debut stars Sid Haig. May he rest in peace. Sid Haig was an amazing human being. I got to meet him. It wasn't like, I know I've told the story before. I had the opportunity to meet him, and it wasn't, when you were talking to him, it was like you were talking to your grandfather. You weren't talking to the guy, the actor that played the clown on House of a Thousand Corpses. Like you weren't talking to him. You were talking to like your family member, like your grandpa. Really, that's how it felt. He was super humble. He never charged a lot for his autographs. He would take pictures with you for free. Like, he was an amazing human being, and I was sad to hear that he passed, unfortunately. So here is, I don't know if you guys could see it. That's kind of like what the book is. I mean, it's cool if you're a collector. It'd be cool to have, because it kind of reminds me of the books I had when I was a kid. But then also too, I like when they take things that from our childhood and kind of make it demented, which I feel like this is. Because I mean, obviously, like, yeah, I mean, it goes, you get the drift. So, yeah, C is for Captain Cooking Chicken. But I mean, it'd be cool for yeah, Curious Potato. He passed away. It's been a while now, I think. I'm not sure the exact date, but I do follow his wife. She does post every once in a while about him. Yeah, Julie, it is funny. That's why I think even the fact that it's $40, I think it'd be cool just to have. It's kind of hilarious. Like, it's unique, put it that way. And then if you're a fan of A House of a Thousand Corpses, it's a bonus. Oh, I logged myself out. There's also a Jaws coloring book coming out as well, which is super cool for us horror fans. If you guys like coloring, I know coloring's a good like stress reliever. Wendigo's unique is my special power. Also, some sad news for Saw fans. One day I am going to get Billy the doll. I will one day. You will see him in my background. I think Billy the doll is amazing. For your Saw fans, unfortunately, it looks like we may not be getting a Saw 11. I mean, either way, I know the last Saw was amazing. I didn't have high hopes for it because the one previous to it I didn't really like, but I've always I pretty much enjoyed every single one of them, maybe except for Spiral. Even the last one before 10 was okay. And I also feel like after a while, having 11 movies, after a while you're going to run out of inspiration, I feel like. Because I mean, John Kramer is dead. The last one kind of went on with a prequel story, which was kind of cool. Well, not a prequel story, but it was between 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. Which I thought was cool. It had some of our favorite characters in it. I felt like the traps were cool. There is blood and guts, but I feel like it's done beautiful. It's not like Terrifier, where Terrifier goes all out, or Evil Dead. Evil Dead is known for the blood. With Ash versus Evil Dead, they were always counting how much blood they would use, but Ash versus Evil Dead, I didn't feel like it was like, the gore wasn't that bad. Wendy goes, I couldn't deal with the gore, my anxiety. Curious Potato goes, I can't take the doll seriously after the Scary Movie spoofs. Denny has the hand talk to me. It's really cool. I still have to see that movie. It's still on my list. Denny wants to get an Annabelle doll. I'd rather get the original doll, the Raggedy Ann doll. I do have one. It's in the other room, but it's a smaller one. I wouldn't mind getting like a bigger one. Thank you, Denny. Denny said Sid Haig, who played Captain Spaulding in House of a Thousand Corpses, 31, and I forgot the other one. I think was he in 31? No, not 31. 3 from Hell. That's what it was. He passed away September 23rd, 2019, so it has been a while. So 7 installments, a soft reboot, a spinoff, and an in-between twinkle. After 2 decades, 10 films, and over $1 billion grossed worldwide, Saw remains one of horror's most popular and enduring franchises. Unfortunately, the series' iconic villain Jigsaw may have already set his last trap, according to an anonymous source, BD. BD has verified Bloody Disgusting, because this is a Bloody Disgusting article, has verified as being close to the production of its newest sequel. They did announce that Saw 11 was supposed to come out September 27th, 2024. After the commercial and critical success of 2023 Saw X, Lionsgate announced Saw 11 with the teaser image of a September 27th, 2024 release date, not long after Saw X director and franchise veteran Kevin Gertert was revealed as the upcoming sequel's director, with previous series scribs Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan on scripting duties. In addition, Saw stars Tobin Bell, Shawnee Smith, and Costas Mandylor were to return to their roles for this outing. However, the release date was eventually pushed back by a year in the spring of 2024, placing its new release date at September 26, 2025. So what happened? According to the source, everything went sideways in January of 2024. The producers started fighting. Believe it or not, it can happen. While one producer attempted to plow forward with the film, the other put on roadblocks, sifting Saw 11's production. So it sounds like they couldn't come to an agreement. But what about Lionsgate? Surely the company that Saw helped build would have stepped in to steer its lucrative ship back on course. Our source suggests Lionsgate didn't have anyone to smooth over the disagreement. As it stands, the series still has a number of dangling plot strands left to be tied up. With Saw 11 effectively canceled, so too is the franchise robbing its fans and creators of a proper ending. What becomes of the series after this? The insider notes that the franchise might sell somewhere else, but it will likely start over if so. And I don't think I'm going to want to watch it if it starts over. In the end, Jigsaw was thwarted not by cancer or a circular saw to the throat, but a persistent plague to creativity in filmmaking, which happens. It does happen. As the source concludes, greed and ego won. Sound off or never mind about that. Will Saw see another day in the sun, or is it well and truly game over? I mean, if they decide to sell it, I feel like that would kind of destroy it. It's best to leave it. I don't feel like I have anything dangling or questions to answer. I feel pretty satisfied with what I've seen. So I feel like if it were to end now, I'd be fine. I feel like you went way too far with it. I feel like 4 films at most would be good, but I know a lot of films have like, it seems like they have 20 films. Like Friday the 13th, for example. I know it's not 20, but it just seems like that. Or Halloween, or you know what I mean? So I feel like after 4 we're good. But then this seems like this seems like the time of reimagining and remakes too. So we're gonna probably see something later. There's probably gonna end up being a remake, because I feel like the originality of horror has gone down the toilet in a way. Like they lost their creativity. Like they're coming out with another Final Destination Bloodline. Like I feel like after a certain time, it's just time to end it. You know what I mean? I feel like the hype of some of the movies just, it gets less and less as time goes on. What do you guys think? Yeah, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser went too far. I always say this. It's the first 4, that's why I'm saying 4 movies. The first 4 of Hellraiser are amazing. After that, it's downhill. Like, you start losing the Cenobites, you start losing, Pinhead in some of them. Then they start changing Pinhead to another actor, and of course, my actor will always be Doug Bradley. No one can replace him. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Denny. Without Doug, it's meh. Like, even his voice, like his voice is amazing. Even now, his voice is still amazing. Because he does, if you follow him on Instagram, he does, I think he has a YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken, where he reads stories, and his voice is amazing. Julissa goes, I agree with you, not horror, but it's like Fast and the Furious movies. Exactly, Fast and the Furious. You've got Vin Diesel going, we're continuing the legacy. It's about family. And I get it. They're all super close. All the actors that were on Fast and Furious are super close. And I know they want to remember Paul Walker. I get it. I understand. But I feel like after a while, it's like you've seen it. It loses its excitement. I mean, it's still a great movie. It's like the edge of your seat type of stunts and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. Every movie's different, but it's still, the main thing about it is the cars, driving, doing tricks with the cars and saving somebody or whatever it may be. But after a while, it's like you've seen it before, if you get my drift. Dusty goes, unless they could come up with a new and interesting storyline, they got too repetitive. I agree. They have in the horror movie industry. Don't get me wrong, they do have a lot of movies that have come out. Especially, I know I hate to say this, but it's as cheesy as it sounds with the Pooniverse, but hey, at least it's something different. You know what I mean? With Pooh, Blood and Honey, with Alice in Wonderland making it a horror, film, or Pinocchio making it. I mean, they've done it before with Pinocchio. It's not the first rodeo. Popeye the Slayer Man, like, as cheesy as it sounds, at least it's something different. It's not original, because we know Popeye. I mean, obviously these are children's classic, cartoons, but still, it's something different. It's something interesting, and it makes me want to watch them, even though I know they're probably not going to be the best, probably going to be low budget, but hell, at least it's something different. Hard Eyes was, I mean, I love slashers. You kind of already know what to expect when you watch a slasher, but I do like slashers. Exactly, Denny. Childhood cartoons with a twist for adults. So true. So I feel like even if Saw were to end now, like I said earlier, I'd be satisfied. I'd be like, because nothing beats the first film in any franchise. Nothing beats. I feel like nothing beats the first time. You might be amazed and impressed that there's the second one is better than the first, but for the most part, I feel like with movies, the first one's always the best one. And nothing's gonna beat the first Saw. It made you think. It made you, I mean, it did have the blood and gore, but it also had a twist at the end. So that's the one thing I liked about the Saw franchise. Like, it made you think, like, oh, like, and then when you went into the second one, you're like, okay, what's going on now? It made you want to, like, pay attention even more, like, to see what was going on or what the end reveal would be. Curious Potato goes, I must admit, I've watched most of the Fast and Furious films. I have too. I don't think I've seen the last one, though. Danny goes, it's been a while since a good slasher came out, and I was pleasantly surprised with Hard Eyes. Julissa goes, the first Saw was amazing. I still need to watch the latest one. But as what also too, if they do decide to sell it, I feel like that's just gonna kill it in a way too. Because then there's gonna be new people probably taking over. A lot of times when somebody takes over a franchise, they'll put it in their vision, so it kind of like erases what the film is in some cases. So I feel like that's not a good idea. I feel like if it ends here, that's probably the best bet for them. Also, too, there's some Cloverfield um movie news here. Cloverfield, I only really saw the first one. I loved it. It's kind of that found footage shaky cam, like what the hell is going on type of film. I didn't see the other ones, but director Babak Anvari teases new Cloverfield sequel. You're going to get something amazing. Babak Anvari is set to direct a new sequel to Cloverfield, which is reportedly a direct sequel to Matt Reeves' original 2008 film. In a new interview during the XXSW premiere of his latest film, Hollow Road, Anvari teased the new sequel. So sad that I cannot because everyone on that team is very secretive, which I understand. And Vari told Countdown City Geeks, but whatever happens, just know that hopefully you're going to get something amazing. Although Anvari didn't disclose any details about the follow-up film, he did express his excitement about the project as high. I think a lot of people, because they did come out with other Cloverfields, they like there's Cloverfield Lane. Then there was another Cloverfield. I think they were expecting like a sequel to the actual Cloverfield, and that's not what we got. So with this, I'm hoping that we actually get a sequel to that Cloverfield. And not just something. Diddy Rose goes, both are good. So I'm thinking that's what fans are hoping with this, that we do get an actual sequel to the first film with that crazy monster and everything. That's a great film. If you like shaky cam films, um that's a great one to watch. I have to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a while. Also, there's been a sighting of Loch Ness Monster. It's just a picture. It's the first sighting of 2025. Um, I know I've talked about Loch Ness Monster in a previous stream. I do believe that there's some truth when it comes to these things. Like with Bigfoot, I do believe Chupacabra, I do believe like there's some truth to it. I feel like somewhere, or like, La Llorona, even in myths and legends, I feel like there's some sort of truth to them. I don't dismiss that they're fake. If I saw one, I'd probably become 100% believer, but I'm going to still be a little skeptic when it comes to these things, but I don't dismiss it completely. And that's no different with Loch Ness Monster. I do believe somebody saw something. It just may not necessarily be what we think it is or what they saw. But fantastic Loch Ness Monster sighting reported, the first in 2025, committed to uncovering the truth. So I'm going to show you this picture, but I feel like this picture doesn't show anything. It's a Nessie business. Officials at a museum dedicated to Loch Ness, the world-renowned body of water in Scotland, home to the so-called Loch Ness Monster, have announced the first political sightings of the elusive beast in 2025. Photos showing a black mass slithering underneath the chilling waters of the famous lake were handed over to the Loch Ness Center in Inverness by a witness. I'm probably butchering that name. I do apologize. Who spotted the spooky shape and snapped a picture as evidence. So I am going to show you this picture. Hopefully you can see it, but it doesn't really show anything. Like, hold on. I don't know if right there. So, yeah. That could be anything. I mean, obviously, I was there and I would saw that. If I saw that, I'd probably like, oh my God, that's the Loch Ness Monster. I think we all would do that because we all want to find proof. We all want to know that it's true, right? We all do. But that honestly, I mean, probably if I saw that there, I'd be like, oh my God, that's the Loch Ness Monster. But then after a while, I'll be like, no, it's probably something drifting in the water. Like that, you can't, what is that? Like, honestly, it could be anything. It's not really, it doesn't have any shape. It's just like a mat. I mean, it's just a lump in the water. It could be a piece of, I don't know if there's driftwood over there. It could be a piece of driftwood, something. Oops. Darn ad. But I think it's funny. Like, I click on the article, I was like, oh, a new sighting of the Loch Ness Monster. And then I see this. And I'm like, what? But I mean, like I said, I think if I was there in person, I'd probably, but I don't really jump to conclusions though at the same time. It would cross my mind that, hey, maybe it's a possibility that it could be the Loch Ness Monster, but I wouldn't automatically be like, oh my God. But the Karen show goes, it could be anything. I do know that the Loch Ness does have eels in it. The boat I was on, they showed us a pic of them and explained stuff. It could be anything. But I know there's people out there that are true believers, and as soon as they see something, they're going to be like, oh my God, like, oh my God, like, check out what I got. Oh, you're not going to believe this. But for me, I mean, like I said, I don't dismiss the existence of it, but I am going to still remain skeptical I'm like 50-50 when it comes to these things. The exciting occurrence is said to have taken place over a period of several minutes, thanks to favorable weather, offering a clear view of the mysterious movements, SWNS reported. The center's general manager, Nigina Ishag, or Ish, I'm probably butchering this, I do apologize, commenting on the event said, we've had numerous observations over the years, but the recent sightings have been particularly captivating. The conditions on the day of this sighting was absolutely perfect. This could very well be our first sighting of the year, further fueling the mystery surrounding Loch Ness and its most famous resident, she added. As always, we are committed to solving the mystery of Nessie once and for all. Assured, our previous collaborations allowed us to advance our research efforts significantly, and this potential sighting is a reminder that the mystery of Loch Ness is far from solved. We continue to explore every possibility and are committed to uncovering the truth, she concluded. Independence Research Organization Loch Ness Exploration encouraged truth seekers to seek out their efforts and to share their findings too. It's fantastic to see the ongoing enthusiasm of scanning the waters for Loch Ness in search of the legendary monster. Enthused the group's Alan McKenna. Whether you're capturing intriguing sonar readings, spotting unusual surface disturbances, or noticing patterns in the Loch's natural behavior, we'd love to hear from you. He said, every observation adds to our understanding, whether it's potential evidence of Nessie or new insight into the Loch's unique ecosystem. Keep sharing your findings. We're always excited to analyze and explore what they could mean, McKenna said. At least one expert seemed to recently pour a lock's worth of cold water on countless theories after some good-natured probing from Prince William. So, Heather Whatever, thank you for that super chat. Hearts for Heather Whatever. Thank you, girl. I appreciate that. And it's added to the laptop fund. And I do apologize if any of you donated through other means, because I am using my phone. I can't see if you did. I will give you a shout out on my next stream. Curious Potato goes, yeah, there's a lot of eel DNA in Loch Ness. But like I said, I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything. Do you guys believe in Loch Ness, or do you think it's just someone, like a myth? Like someone created the story? Curious Potato goes, Jeremy Wade thinks it might be a Greenland shark. Hug, what is up? I don't know what it could be. I do believe that there is something out there, but it might not necessarily be what we picked or what they have pictured of it. But there is something out there. I believe the people that have seen things. The problem is with technology, it's kind of hard for me to believe videos because it's too easy to edit. Even sometimes with photos too, you could easily, I mean, I'm obviously not that great with Photoshop, so you could tell completely if I was making a picture. You would be able to see all the fine lines and the rough edges, but there's some people that can blend things really well. So it's kind of hard with technology to kind of believe things nowadays. And I feel bad for those people that do actually see something or find something and no one believes them, because of too many people making, fake videos or want to be TikTok or social media famous. And it really does suck for those people that actually caught a UFO or actually caught a ghost in their home or took a picture of a ghost and people are there, oh, that's fake. I mean, a lot of times when you do take pictures of ghosts, it could be a reflection or of something. It might necessarily be that, but if you did actually catch something, it kind of sucks. Kyle, what is up? Kyle goes, sturgeons are scary big. I do remember that they thought maybe it was a sturgeon. Denny Rose goes, up north in Canada, we have Greenland sharks and gray sharks. Heather Whatever goes, I saw one and I've been in the lake many times since and was never scared. They're vegetarians, I think, or maybe eat fish. I mean, obviously, there's never been a case where someone was injured by one. I'm with you on that one, Heather Whatever. I don't think I feel like, I don't think they would harm you. Dusty, I agree with you on that one too. There are water creatures that have not been discovered as yet, but this is freshwater lake. I mean, some of those creatures from the deep, deep ocean, or fish, I shouldn't say creatures, but fish, they look like creatures from another planet. So it makes sense that but this is like a lake though. So, but you never know. You never know. Curious Potatoes goes, sturgeons can get over 6 foot long. Hug goes, I wonder what happened to that family in Nevada, the one where they had beans in their backyard and cops caught something falling from the sky on the chest cam. They did come back like a year later, and the guy came back saying that now his house was haunted. And that made me, and I did report about it, that made me think. And even when they were showing like, oh my God, you could see the alien, look at the shape. Like people were like dissecting the photos. I'm like, where? What? I don't see anything. After he said that, like his house is haunted, like he lost credibility for me. He really did. Because now it's like, okay, you had aliens and now your house is haunted. Like I felt like with that, he wanted to keep relevant and be in the news. So I felt like, yeah, it kind of, it lost it for me. Diddy Rose, there was a fish that looked like the creature in Alien. That is crazy. And I think people want to believe, they want to believe, they want answers to the existence of extraterrestrials. So if something like that pops up, it's going to blow up because it's something, I feel like it's something we don't hear a lot of. We do hear a lot about paranormal activity. I feel like more so than we do alien encounters. So I feel like when someone has that experience, it's like, boom, everybody went like, where did you see and what did they look like? And I always feel like the aliens aren't necessarily what they picture look like, what they look like in movies. I don't think they look like that, to be honest with you. They may look like that, but I feel like that's our interpretation of them, but they could look like us. They could be a plant. You know what I mean? There could be an alien plant out there. I know as crazy as it sounds, but I don't think it necessarily, looks like, the typical, alien little green men like we saw in X-Files or Signs or, in a lot of the movies that do have alien life in it. It could be completely different. Yeah, Dusty could be like a giant worm, like in Men in Black. You never know. You know what I mean? Matthew goes, they could be us from the future. Exactly. Denny Rose, well, it's arrogant to think we are the only creatures in the universe. True. I always thought there was life on other planets. I just need, I always believed that there was life. There's got to be more in this universe besides us. You know what I mean? There's got to be more. They may not necessarily look like us. They may not speak our language. They may be technologically advanced than us, but I know that there's something out there. I'm still a little skeptical about them coming here, but I do find it, believable. Or lizard people, like in Denny is V. They could be lizard people where they look like us and you rip their skin and they're lizards and they eat people and rats and mice. And they're, harvesting us for food. It could be like that. Crazy stuff. Or to serve man, the Twilight Zone episode with the Catamints. They didn't look like this. And they tried to decipher the book. And as he's getting on the ship, the lady goes, it's a cookbook. And he's like, and then the catamite like pulls him into the ship. I love that. That's my favorite episode, by the way. But something like that, it might necessarily, I know that'd be kind of crazy if there was a creature out there that would use us for food. That would be scary. Yeah, that would definitely be scary. Kyle goes, alien bacteria and microscopic organisms do exist. Matthew Matthew goes life, but not able to get here. Like, we can't get there. True. Because we will age. We would die before we make it to certain places in the universe. Diddy goes, if they are smart, they'll stay away from planet Earth. I always say, like, they have the technology, like, you know how Superman could hear everything? Which one was it? Superman Returns, I think. The one with Brandon Routh. That's the only one I could think. Well, I mean, there's other Supermans where he does it too, but there's I think it's in that one where he goes above the earth and he can hear everything. I feel like, yeah, that's the aliens, and they could hear everything that's going on here, and they'll be like, oh, hell no, and then fly off to the next one. I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. They'll be like, these people are losing their minds. Like, what is going on? Diddy Rose could be like Alien versus Predator, species. Exactly. Curious Potatoes goes, we should be scared of global warming, old viruses in the ice. I mean, we've got, measles has come back, which is something, I mean, I got vaccinated against it long, ancient years ago. But you don't hear a lot about that anymore, but recently someone, here, I guess, flew into LAX here in Los Angeles, and they had measles. And you're like, how the hell does a person have measles, like, even nowadays? You know what I mean? Or like any of those old diseases that we don't see anymore. Dusty. Diddy goes, with some of our world leaders, it's enough to scare them away. I don't think that's the least of their concerns. I feel like an alien would be like, they wouldn't worry about that. I just think they would hear all the stuff that's going on and be like, no. But yeah. Diddy Rose goes, yes, like the X-Files with black goop. Like in that or they had that one episode where everyone turned old. .com, I think it's the name of that episode. Believe it or not, speaking of the X-Files, Final Destination was actually supposed to be a script, like an episode of the X-Files, and they ended up making it a movie, which is crazy. I did not know that. So that's a little Final Destination trivia. Which is kind of cool. I think it's from the directors or one of the writers, not directors, one of the writers, I think, did Final Destination that was on the X-Files. Kyle is asking, has anyone seen Scavengers Reign on Prime for real? I imagine alien-like beings like that. No, I have not. I have not seen that. Actually, I might check that out. That sounds kind of cool. My favorite X-File episode was Humbug with the Jim the dog face boy and the tattooed puzzled guy with Jim Rose actually in it from Jim Rose Circus. That was one of my I love that episode. I watched it over and over again. It was one of my favorites. All right, guys, I am going to open it up for questions. Unfortunately, in this view, I couldn't hide Skeleduck. So Skeleduck is chilling somewhere. He is off screen, so you can't see much of my background in this thing, but hopefully I could get a laptop and fix that. But for now, I guess I'll use my phone. Yeah, Denny Rose, there is another, it's called, I believe it's Final Destination Bloodline. I think it's coming out soon. It is May 16th. It will be out, and I believe Tony Todd will be in it. And it's going to be one of his final roles. Curious goes, I never got into Final Destination. Seemed like the same movie each time. It kind of is. It kind of is. Heather Whatever goes, I saw one in the early 90s, no cell phone, and a lady and I were in the resort hot tub and ran down the dock watching it. Looked like a very black fire water hose, multiple humps, many feet long, 20. Yeah, I remember, Heather Whatever, you told me that up there, the Tahoe, Nessie, you did see it. Karen goes, I remember watching the very first Final Destination. It was so stressful to watch. I could not watch them again. It is. It now forever changes my view on logging trucks, but we don't have logging trucks here in California, but any truck or any car that has any type of piping on it, I automatically think of Final Destination. It doesn't matter if they have something that could fall or look like it could fall. Like, okay, I'm changing lanes. This is Final Destination. I'm not going to be a victim. Heather Whatever goes, I don't want to see an alien or Bigfoot, no probes. And with Final Destination with the John Denver song. Kyle goes, we have thousands of logging trucks everywhere here. Oh my God, I feel for you, Kyle. I mean, we have like utility trucks, like people that work out, like work trucks that sometimes has like, piping off the side. And I'm like, no, I've actually had like what was it, a trash can or something, or a Gatorade, like, one of those big thermos Gatorade beverage containers, like, no, it wasn't that, it was a bucket. I always see the beverage containers too on the side of the truck. I had a bucket come out of like a utility truck, and oh my God, I thought I hit it because it came out so quickly. And usually I don't drive super close to cars, but it came out so quickly I couldn't like go around. I thought I ran over it, but then I pulled over and there was no bucket. So I don't think I hit it. Curious Potato goes, I don't want to be probed by aliens either. Dusty goes, did California have a 7.0 earthquake that created I don't know. Dusty, I know we've had earthquakes, but I don't know. I didn't hear about that one. And usually it'll pop up. I know we've had earthquakes though recently. The Karen Show goes, my most favorite horror movie is an old Vincent Price movie, tamed by standards today, but the Wax Museum loved it. Original release was in 3D all the way back then. You know what? I know of that movie, but I don't think I've seen it. I'll have to check that one out. I know of the movie. I think you could catch it on Tubi. I think I've seen it it's on one of I've got so many apps or different streaming programs that I forget what is on what. Dusty goes, I saw a report It was out in the ocean, but not sure if it was an old report. I know I Googled it and there was one that popped up that was an old report. So maybe, but I haven't seen, usually when I'm scrolling through Facebook, I see all the for sure with earthquakes, I always see them. I know there was one recently, I think it was in Mexico though, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think I've saw anything today of an earthquake. All right, guys. I'm enjoying our conversation, but is there any last minute questions before I end this stream? With you seeing my mug. It's still not a bad background. Denny goes, there was one off the coast of Vancouver, Canada last month. Contacted my fam there. Most of them did not feel anything. Kyle goes, we were used to quakes here. I didn't notice anything. Karen goes, the background is fine. Glad to see your face today. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. It's like a condensed version of my background. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? Heather, whatever goes aliens, watch the news and say the heck with these weirdos. Curious Potatoes asking, what is my favorite snack food? Right now, I'm enjoying trail mix, believe it or not. Trail mix, like the tropical one with like the dried pineapple and what is it? Banana and the nuts with like walnuts, cashews, almonds. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Curious Potatoes looking for new snacks. Trail mix. I'm trying to have healthy snacks. I try to stay away from like the. Don't get me wrong, I like chips every once in a while, but I try to stay away from those. All right, guys, if there is no other questions, I will end the stream here. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for joining me for this week, even though it was on my phone. It might be on my phone for a while, but I'm so glad that I was able to join you guys. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on the next one. Stay spooky and sweet nightmares, guys. Good night, guys. Have a good one.